Hey, Stace, we were just talking about a conversation you had with a leader yesterday that you are really excited about. You want to share it with us?
Yeah, I was talking with the CEO of a nonprofit organization, and we have a lot of conversations with CEOs of nonprofit organizations, and I heard something that I'd never really heard said exactly the way that he said it, and it was something along the lines of really wanting to be intentional about creating a culture of leadership
Mm,
within his organization. And it
mm-hmm.
just really gave me pause. I thought about it all evening. What does that really mean to create a culture of leadership within an organization? And of course, he had some thoughts about that. And I was sort of thinking about it a little bit, maybe not selfishly, but because we've been talking about what does it mean for us to support a culture of leadership with our client organization. So it was just a really interesting moment where it all felt very synergistic. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity maybe for us to talk about what we think of our role in supporting a culture of leadership
Mm,
and
mm-hmm.
just how inspiring it is when we talk to these leaders who are so focused on that.
It's so true. I mean, and I had a session yesterday with a group of direct care providers and case managers who were just so focused on their own, like caring for others, while at the same time they were like first time in the room together, culture
Mm,
of their team, like culture is a big deal.
it
And
is.
right, and it has changed and evolved over these, last number of years, and we are always trying to change and evolve too at TLS. And so, interestingly enough, right, we've just gone through this whole process with our own coach around how can we
Mm,
best, like you said, how can we best provide support to leaders and to staff? Because we really are passionate about both. And so,
yes.
what you and I have cultivated over the years, Stace, is a number of these kinds of very interactive kinds of sessions, and we do a combination of being on site. And then, of course, we did like thousands of hours of webinars over the last 3 years. And so now we're kind of moving back into this almost like hybrid territory, right? Some organizations went on site, some organizations still want virtual, and all of the organizations are still very much about caring about their leaders and staff, right?
Mm. Absolutely. And so what we've done is try to just take all of this content that is always sourced from our organizational conversations. I feel like every one of these sessions, there's a root conversation that occurred, one or more, that sort of led to the creation of the session. And we've tried to organize them perhaps in a way that it's a little bit more intuitive and helps
Right.
folks sort of understand what they're looking at. Do you want to just touch on a
Yeah.
couple of these and maybe give a little context for them?
Well, I think what we really on the left-hand side is all of our leadership topics. And we have been hearing a lot. I mean, our one of our sweet spots is really to support those leaders who are what we call emerging, or the leaders that have been promoted, the leaders that are, have been providing those direct services, and now they're supporting people or guiding people, leading people who are providing those direct services. And it's a different, right? We know it's different to lead people versus manage work. And so that's really what we've tried to do under these leadership topics. Presence. How are you present as a leader? How do you support teams? We have, these 2 or 3 hour programs as well as longer programs. And so, and then of course, we have also for leaders as well as staff, and this is really under the umbrella of well-being and professional development, topics. We always get asked questions about communication. We're often having people coming to us saying that they want to feel more confident. And of course, we work with organizations and teams that have a lot of exposure to trauma.
Mm,
And so how do they in these different ways support themselves in their own well-being so that they can continue to provide the care and services that they love doing while also really making sure that they can do it for the long term, right? Putting on their own oxygen mask.
Yeah. Well, it never ceases to amaze me how organic this world is that we're in terms of having conversations that parallel conversations we have internally. We're having conversations
That's right.
externally and
That's
having
right.
similar conversations internally. And I think we wanted to sort of share this brainstorming we're doing because we always want to be transparent, and we would love feedback. I think we're going to
Yes,
offer
for sure.
a view of this. It's likely not the last view, but the view of this that you just shared, just to ask for any feedback, right?
We would love feedback. If there's a topic on this list that you really resonate with, we'd love to know that. And if there's topics that we're missing that you think would be
Yes.
really helpful for your own leadership teams, for your teams in the organization, we would also love to hear that. So please feel free to email us info@tlstransforms.com. And I'm Alicia Davis.
I'm Stacie Watson.
And we love to support leaders who are supporting their teams and supporting people in the world to be their best selves. Take good care.
Take care.